We are live. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, everybody? Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me this time. I've got a new computer, so it should all work. Can you hear me? I see little hearts. Give me a little text that you can hear me. Yes, we can hear you. Thank you. Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thank you all for being here. This is a bit of an impromptu live based on all the comments that we received on a video that now has 122,000 views or something. Welcome everybody here. I can see Corky, I can see Bless Your Vibes, I can see Jen, and oh my God, that's really exciting. We're really happy you're here. I am currently on the land that is called Vancouver, that is currently called Vancouver. It is the unceded and stolen territories of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam people. Currently Vancouver in Canada. I always like to draw some attention to that because it brings awareness to who I am in this time, at this moment, here in this place. And training of awareness is important. Like, who am I in this time? What's important? What do I need to see? So the fact that I'm placing myself where I am is part of sort of an awareness training for myself. Who am I? Who are you? Anyway, some housekeeping. Tanya is sitting right there. Let's see if we can show you Tanya. Hello, Tanya.
Hi.
And Tanya is here in the room moderating the comments, and Jennifer is on somewhere in Louisiana moderating the questions. So if you have questions, put them in the chat, and then Tanya or Jennifer will pick them up and bring them to my attention, or I can see them, but generally I don't like to look at the chat when I'm engaging with you. So welcome everybody, and I'd like to start explaining a little bit about what happened with the study. Like in April or something, we started with the study in collaboration with Stanford, and the study was meant to the moment people get on an Alinker, they're probably looking something in the face. They're staring at a certain trajectory that they're on medically, emotionally, physically, and then something happens that they think, shit, I do need to do something else. I need to make a decision. I need to change the trajectory to see if I can be healthier and happier again in my life. They then see the Alinker, get on the Alinker, and it changes their trajectory. The study is meant to map out those two trajectories and make the comparison. And I'd like to share a few results with you, preliminary results, because the data is all uploaded, that is being analyzed. Overall, we know that average general health is improving, and I did 70 something interviews with participants of the study, and the preliminary outcomes, I just listed a few things to share with you about what the interview questions were, what some of the commonalities were between the interview questions, and let me just read that up to you. What we asked is the consequences. What would have happened if you had not found the Alinker, if you had not started using the Alinker? And people mentioned limited mobility, would have ended up using a wheelchair. Increased pain and strong pain medication, I would have had to increase that. Increased cost of heart and breathing medications, additional surgeries and treatments. Increase in mental health concerns, depression and anxiety, feelings of worthlessness and being invisible. more time to get around in places, could not finish walking trips, needing assistance to get around, do tasks, home care, self-care, unstable and unsafe fall risk. And falling obviously is a huge risk for injuries. Added chronic illnesses due to not moving, weight gain and hopelessness, foot traffic is a safety issue, less social, decrease in getting out, low quality of life, reclusive, possibly looking at going to a nursing home, dependency. These are not nice questions to ask, obviously, when um, like what would have happened to you, go into the downward spiral and the consequences of what that would have been. But once people get on the Alinker, there's a big difference. And I'm gonna just go into mobility. What difference have you noticed since owning the Alinker? And it gives you maybe a little bit, if you haven't participated or you're not an Alinker user yet, it might give you some idea about the benefits that people have once they start using the Alinker. And all those people that are interviewed were between 5, 6 months and 2 years and beyond using the Alinker. So it's on a short term as well as on a longer term. Differences noticed since owning the Alinker: improved mobility, strength, and stamina, stopped some medications, avoided second surgery, improved mental health, joyful, motivated, happy, inspired, confidence, safer movements and activities, easier mobility, more social, supported by community, feel seen and heard. My family is happier because I don't feel a burden anymore to them. Increased outdoor activity, longer trips without needing Finnish to help. Can do more household chores from strength increase. Yeah, they sound all familiar, right? Can travel quicker and keep pace with foot traffic. Can travel at all, couldn't anymore. Stopped all controlled medications for pain. Wow, that's a huge one, isn't it? Osteoporosis, breathing and heart issues under control now. Avoided using a wheelchair and my life is joyful again. These are big things. And then, sometimes we hear people that finally get the Alinker, finally in their words, because they say, I had the Alinker on my radar for years, but I waited because of this and that and that and that. Sometimes it's affordability, and I'll get to that in the questions and answers. But I asked the question to the people that had waited, and I said, what would life have looked like if you had had the Alinker sooner? And these are the answers. I would have avoided falls and injuries. I would not have deteriorated so bad or quickly prolonged the impairment decline. Working career would have been extended, avoided going on government assistance. Less complications of health, wound care, and other care is affected and prolonged due to not being ambulatory. Eating less nutritious meals due to her decline in CP might have avoided if she had a Linker many years ago to prolong her impairment. Mental health, stopped caring about others' opinions, do what is good for her by using mobility aids earlier, thus prolonging the preventing decline. These are just a few of the preliminary, and we're all compiling them and putting them in a document, and that will be accessible on the website with a few testimonials of people that have participated in the study. And yeah, we're actually quite overwhelmed with the enormous impact that the Alinker has. And if you compare the implications of the trajectory that people were on versus the implications that people now have since using the Alinker, you can translate those things into financial consequences. And then what we see and what people say, they are saving thousands and sometimes tens of thousands of dollars per year on medical and personal care expenses that they no longer have. You think personal care, like something I would have never thought about, but somebody told me that they were using 8 incontinence diapers per day. And since using the Alinker, strengthening her pelvic floor, she did not use as many anymore and could do with one or two. The impact on cost, landfill, and discomfort is huge, of course. I would have never thought about that was a consequence of the Alinker, but this kind of unexpected things are happening. Tanya will share a link here in the chat to showcase how the Alinker activates the brain. It's an email. It's a video from Jen. When Jen was using 3 months the Alinker, and Jen had spastic dystonia, the really problematic and hampered voice, and she put, because she did a campaign and completed the campaign, and then she did a video of her talking while on the Alinker, saying how thankful she was that everybody showed up for her campaign, etc. So her speech was recorded at that time. And then she noticed over the first few months that her speech completely cleared up. In that video, and just watch that video, just save that link somewhere, and it still makes me emotional looking at that. Like, she talked 100 miles an hour after 3 months, not doing anything else, just using the Alinker. And we've seen more effects of the Alinker activating the brain. And you know, there's something in our medical system that doesn't address the brain very well, because when people are independent and their brain is activated, they are less of a revenue stream for the medical system. I always say, like, happy and healthy people are a bad business model. And so this system, sad enough as it is, drives people into poverty and makes people dependent on a system that is not necessarily supporting their health and wellness, but managing the symptoms of the illnesses that come from not moving enough, eating processed food, etc., etc. So we can do that differently. We can show up for each other. We can be in community, pay attention to what we're eating, and moving together. How is that? Okay, is there any questions about the study? Because we're continuing to do the study, because it will be an ongoing effort to gather as much as possible data that we can from people that use Alinkers and start using it various ways that some kind of illness or disability impacted their lives, and maybe how that changes with the Alinker. So is there any questions, Tanya, that you see?
Not necessarily on the study just yet.
Okay. Anything else?
We have a question about, I think this question comes a lot, about having an Alinker covered by your medical care.
Okay, I'll get to that and the questions, because we had from that video the inventing the Alinker that got now 122,000 views or something, and nearly 1,000 comments. And we're going live. We're here live to answer many of those questions that people don't have to, or that I don't have to answer those same questions all the time in the chat. So a lot is about the price. People ask, like, it's so expensive, and does Medicaid cover it? There's a little bit of a story around that. The Alinker is a high quality, custom designed bike. Only the seat and the steering bar are off the shelf materials. All the rest are custom parts, and Tanya will share a video. Also, just save that video and watch it later. How it is 43 suppliers or something. In the video it says 40 suppliers, but it's 43 suppliers from where we need to get all the different parts, make the different parts, put them together, hand weld it, then assemble it, or paint it, and then assemble it and ship it. It is a very labor intensive process, and so the Alinker, it's also good quality. is not a cheap thing. Now, that is a very different issue than the fact that people can afford it or not. We understand deeply, because we talk to our customers all the time, we understand that this system drives people into poverty. So the moment you would really need the Alinker, um, you can't pay $2,500, the US price. Now, because we understand that, and because we think it's important to make them available for everybody in principle, you would think we would go make them a medical device so that insurance can pay for it. And if we were to sell the Alinker as a medical device and sell through certified suppliers, which is then required, the price would be double or maybe triple, because that is the margins that that whole industry takes. We don't play in that world. And if it were a medical device, insurance would maybe cover half of it. And I'm always saying, like, we're already selling it for less than half of it, right? So yes, it's a high quality thing that has a price, very different than affordability for people that have been driven into poverty. Very different, we understand. So we make the Alinker available in various ways. First of all, we have the lowest margin in the whole industry of medical devices and bikes. Generally, it goes like minimum 3 times over the cost of production, FOB price. We are less than three times under that. Bikes go 3 to 8, 9 times as much as FOB price. Medical devices go well beyond 20 times the FOB price because of the margins in that whole industry. So we have the lowest margin in the whole industry. We can easily claim that. Then, because people need to get the Alinker and we want to make them accessible for everybody, we have them at full price. We have a 15-day return policy, and the bikes that come back from the 15 days sell for hundreds of dollars less. That is for us a way, because they're practically new. They've shipped once, somebody had either the wrong size or it didn't work. It comes back. So they're practically new and they're a lot cheaper. And Tanya can maybe share that link to the gently used ones. They come in 3 categories. So, but Tanya will share the links and look that up. Then we have the rent to own. Rent to own is a way to sort of a lease. So you have an initial down payment, and then we have after 4 months, you have 8 equal payments to pay it off. It's a 0% rent to own. And we do have the initial threshold of $1,000 before you start, when you start going into the agreement, because it is very tempting to add something to your credit card and just add something to it. But if that threshold is not high enough, you just add to the problems and add to the debt, and that is not something that we want to contribute to. And so for people that cannot pay that threshold, we have crowdfunding campaigns. Years ago, the founder of CocoPay, the crowdfunding platform here in Vancouver, actually, he contacted me and he said, B, I was notified about you and that maybe the idea that I'm having is a good one to work out with you. We together developed the way that the crowdfunding platform can be integrated in our website, and people can do their individual campaigns. And because if you're on disability or something, you cannot do a crowdfunding campaign, you would be penalized. And because of that whole financial restriction on people that are on disability, we fundraise with you. You do your individual campaign. We have Alinker users who have done their own campaign to help you set that up. And then once the campaign is completed, we just ship you an Alinker. 250 campaigns have completed. I would have never thought this was going so well and so good. And other people have tried to do this, I hear from the platform, and we're not able to be successful because it actually takes a lot of work and effort to build a community around something that we now have. So I'm pretty proud of that we just completed 250 campaigns, and we're not stopping. If you have any questions, contact campaigns@thealinker.com if you want to start your own campaign. There's a link on the website. Oh, Tanya just shared that crowdfunding. Go there, do your crowdfunding campaign. It is not asking for money. It is sharing in all generosity about your situation, what happened to you, and how you cannot afford the stuff that you now need. Sharing in generosity your story is educational, actually, to people that don't understand what it means to be diagnosed or have an accident or an incident and then be driven into the poverty. Like lose your job, lose your friends. There's so many people that lost their spouses because, ooh, that's uncomfortable. I didn't sign up for this. It's sad, but that happens. People who lose their whole support network. And so there's nothing that they can fall back on. So you're not asking for money necessarily, but you're sharing in generosity your story about what happens to you once that whole trajectory sets in. Then, in all generosity, people can show up and help you complete the campaign. So you can get your Alinker. And again, 250 people have done their campaign. And so many more people are part of a community now in which both parties are generous. And when we are generous, we are better people because we know what generosity means. We know what it does to us, and it's a good feeling. Some other questions that came from all the comments on that video is accessories. People say like, "Oh, can it have a basket?" It's like most of the accessories that you put on bikes can be put on the Alinker, baskets or bags or a clip for a cane, or people trick them out with all sorts of stuff. And Michelle, maybe you can put in the chat your the link to your blog with all the accessories that you added to it. I think Michelle is on this call. I'm not sure. Otherwise, Jennifer, maybe you can find that link to Michelle's blog. So yes, accessories can be done. We also have the son of a Linker user who's got the shop Twisted Metal Works, and just Google Twisted Metal Alinker, and he has a few special custom made Alinker accessories that you can get, like a foot plate and a clip for a cane. He's got a hook for luggage behind them, behind the Alinker. Really cool, beautiful stuff, and very affordable, actually. Then there were questions about hills and gravity. Yes, gravity is real. When you go down a hill, you go down a hill. Anything on wheels, huh? Going up a hill, a little bit harder. And with an Alinker, you might not want to do that on the first day or the second day or the first week or the second week. But I've heard a lot from people that once they build up their strength and whatever, now they can take a hill and actually see it as a nice challenge, something to work for and to really give them a good workout. So, and it depends on your personal situation, of course. Not everybody can push up a hill after 3 months, but generally, people do improve their strength. Then, the issue that always comes up is the seat. Yes, the seat is a bike seat. And it needs some explanation because a bike seat is not the most comfortable thing. I get that. But We've done a lot of research with this seat, a lot of testing before we landed on this seat, no pun intended. And because this seat has sort of a hole in the back so it doesn't push on your tailbone. What it does push on, though, what it exerts pressure on, is on your sit bones in your in your pelvis. When you put pressure on your sit bones as you move, and it's a posterior tilt, you get a little bit, so you tilt your pelvis back. It's a posterior tilt, they call that. I just learned that. And when your pelvis is tilted back a bit, you exert pressure on your sit bones because you sit on a seat as you walk. It is like your whole spine is like a highway of information to your brain. Your brain, as I say in that video, is dying to work. It just needs to be activated. So looking for comfort on a cushy seat or a cushy couch or a cushy this or a cushy that is not necessarily, I mean, it's temporary comfort, maybe, but it actually doesn't help you build and rebuild um, muscle or strength or activate your brain. So, yes, it's a little bit uncomfortable to seat, and you will get used to it. Like people that are on the call here that are Alinker users, it it takes about 2 3 weeks doing it just steady every day a little bit more. Don't do too much to start with. Just build it up slowly. And as you build it up, after a while, in the Netherlands, we say you have to break in your butt. And that's literally true. It's not breaking in the seat, it's breaking in your butt. It's like when you start playing the guitar, you need to build some calluses on your fingers. That's a real thing, because in the beginning, it hurts when you play the guitar or when you play the cello or something. So, yes, you need to build up a bit of, I don't know, what do you call that in your butt?
Stamina.
Stamina in your butt?
Or
It's definitely not calluses. What is it?
um, a new normal.
A new normal in your butt. Anyway, it has tremendous benefits to actually get through that discomfort. And this is something that we're not used to. But that's what the whole medical system um, is geared towards as well. We have a symptom, we treat it with medication instead of investigating where the symptom comes from. Doctors start medicating before they ask you what you eat, how much you move, and what your poop looks like, so to speak. Poop can tell an enormous story about what's happening with you, what's happening with your whole gut health. And your brain really needs to be activated to be able to work. The brain loves to work, and it will have enormous benefits when you activate it. That takes time because we've been for decades, depending on your age, obviously, but for decades we've been used to looking for comfort. And comfort is a good thing. Comfort food, most of the processed food is called comfort food, but comfort food actually kills us. And it's nice to be comfortable, temporarily. Like when I go to bed, I love to have a nice dry bed. So the temporary comfort is great, but the state of comfort is not good for your health. Moving through discomfort is crucial in order to grow or to expand your capacity. Athletes know this stuff. Athletes are constantly going through muscle pain, through discomfort, through thresholds to grow and to become a better athlete, to become faster, to become stronger, all that stuff. That applies to all of us because that's just how the human works. So when you when you notice you're looking for comfort, see what else you can do. See if you can challenge yourself to move through it a little bit. Because moving through discomfort means that you can grow and you can release certain things. So that's on the seat. Get used to it. Just get used to it a little bit every day. Don't look for comforts that kill you. Don't look for comforts that will stop you from regaining strength and health. You are in control of your health for a whole lot. If you're using your body, the self healing capacity of your body to do exactly that, the body wants to self heal, the brain wants to work. We need to stop poisoning the self healing capacity of the body because then the body doesn't know what to do anymore. And we need to activate the brain so the brain is actually can manage the body that it loves to manage. Any more questions?
It's a slow question kind of day.
Oh my God, were no questions, or did we answer all the questions?
How about you tell us about your book, B, while we're here?
Oh, about the book, yes. It's quite exciting, actually. Thank you for bringing that up, Tanya. I nearly forgot. um, I um, uh, I wrote a book, and it is published now. And the files for the paperback and the hard copy are still uploading. I don't know what the big deal is, but I think at the publisher side they've got a very slow system. It's been uploading for days, but the ebook is available now, and Tanya will. Oh, there's the link to the ebook. That's available already. Get it, just get it, because it's. I think it's a very important read. It took me about 25 years to write this book, and it's. I haven't written a book for 25 years, but I've been writing over 25 years, and a year or two ago or something, I got more and more people tell me like you need to write a book. I was like, okay, damn, how do I do that? So I met Jen Grace at the B Corp retreat. We're a certified benefit corporation, which means we're not just measuring in money, but we're measuring triple bottom line, as that's called. We measure in social impact, in environmental impact, and then financial, because we are a business, but we're using our business as a force for good. So once a year or something, we go to the B Corp retreat with the other B Corps, and Jen is the founder of Publish Your Purpose. It's a publishing house that is certified B Corp. And she said, B, you really need to get your book out. And I said, well, get me a fucking editor then, because I don't know how to put all this in a structure. She then introduced me to Candy, and Candy helped me structure the whole story. And that started in March, April or something only this year. And so since that time, I've been working with Candy, and now the book is released. I think it's an important work, and it's a very timely publication, because we are in a time that we are as divided as can be, and it is all related to what we represent with our external characteristics and all the attachments to it. And the book is to make us aware. It has a lot of my stories that you will recognize. My life is different than your life, obviously, but I think that there's a lot of things that you will recognize, and it's like, oh yeah, that's how that works. And oh, ooh, I have that same thing, but I never put it in those words. So I think it's a book that will help you become more aware about who we are in this time, and that we are not the sum of our external characteristics, but that we can choose who we want to be. Choosing to be a kind, generous person is different than the skin color or the gender identifiers or the ways that I move um, are. That's my external characteristics. That's not who I am. That's not who I decide to be. That takes practice. That takes a lot of practice. And it takes awareness and the willingness to be aware. And the willingness to be aware has consequences, because the moment you're aware about certain things, you have to change your actions. Otherwise, you're not congruent anymore with what you're doing. So get the book. Today it was trending next to the book of Luke Evans, then Inventing B, and then Beloved from Toni Morrison in the top 3 of some category of Amazon. And I was like, oh my God, my book next to Toni Morrison, who is my all-time favorite writer ever. that really made me emotional. And it's sort of like, oh shit, my book's out there right now. But go get it. It's a beautiful holiday read. And then write some reviews, please. Because on Amazon, that's apparently a thing. So there is a way if you want to help the study or have other questions or talk about the linker or about your situation or whatever you want or about the book, make an appointment with me. Tanya will put a link here to the Calendly link that you can make a 30-minute appointment with me, and then you get into my calendar just like that, like magic. How cool is that? Anyways, um, are there any more questions?
I think we're good, B.
We're good?
We're good.
Okay, fantastic. Then I'm going to wish you a very beautiful Sunday and rest of the weekend. And on Monday, we have our weekly Zoom call. In Canada, it's Remembrance Day. Is that in the US as well?
No.
No. So we will have our Alinker call at 3 p.m. Pacific time and look at the newsletter. Um, the link is always the same. Every week, that is the same link on Zoom. So get on a call and be in community and have a beautiful day, everybody. And thank you, Jen, for moderating. And thank you, Tanya, for putting everything together. And I'm wishing you a beautiful rest of the day. Thank you all.
Okay.